What's up guys, Zac Perna here, and today's video is about all the mistakes that I made when I was starting training and what I wish somebody had told me. So here's me telling you. Let's get into it.
I be that young rapping dude, might just trap with you, coming with the thunder baby.
And unfortunately we've got this construction going on around the corner, which is, I really didn't plan for it, and it's starting to do my head in already, so hopefully you guys can't hear it. But basically, I want to talk about the top 10 mistakes that I made. I had a little reflection, I thought about the stupid shit I used to do, and I want to correct it so you guys don't make the same mistakes. Alright guys, so I wanted to make this video for a while, but I literally completely forgot about it, because you kind of forget the mistakes that you've made, and now I just want to get it all out there. So I've thought of 10 things. That I've done in the past that looking back on, probably shouldn't have done. So basically I want to educate you guys on what not to do and also what to do, okay? If that makes any sense at all. So starting with number one, what you should do as a beginner is you should focus on form. Don't ego lift, okay? So my mistake when I was starting lifting is that I was full on ego lifting all the time. So for example, with your form, how many people do you know that bench press like this? Me and my mates would go in the gym and the goal would be to load up the bar with as much weight as you literally can't lift, because you're doing end up doing these partial reps and calling it full reps. So I remember when I was 16 or 17, I remember dumbbell bench pressing 45s, apparently, so I said. I did it, but it was literally partial reps. It was disgusting. So don't do that, because your chest isn't getting activated as much as it would be if I had grabbed the 27s and gone all the way down and actually squeezed. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know why I just asked you, do you know what I mean? You're not gonna be like, yeah, I know what you mean. I can't hear. But back on topic, it's not something that should be encouraged. It's just yes, if you want to get stronger, but if you're compromising form, no. So you got to start with the form. So if you're literally brand new to lifting, just focus on perfecting the movements and getting them right, making sure it's good form. A, you're gonna minimize injury, and B, if you get stronger with good form, then in your 5th year of training, you'll be a weapon, because you'll be lifting so much weight with perfect form. So you don't have to play catch up and then learn the correct form 3 years down the road. You really want to get that down pat from the start. So number one, get good form. Number two, not learning about nutrition. A lot of guys out there will think that if they're training, everything else will fall into place and they'll build muscle. Nutrition is everything, and in the earlier you start to learn about it, the better off you're going to be. So I was lucky enough to actually, as I went, slowly try to educate myself. And otherwise I would just be doing the same thing and I'd be getting nowhere. I did in the beginning just not think food was as important, and maybe supplements are more important, and I would just eat intuitively when I was hungry and try to eat bro foods and clean foods. And it's just not the right way of doing it. You really need to educate yourself about macros. I only started tracking and counting macros properly in the past 2 years or something. Before that, I'd just go off looking at the foods and using certain foods, and all that meant is that I was just restricted to eating certain foods because I couldn't deviate. But in the past year or two, I've learned how to count macros and track macros. I can tell exactly what calories I'm on at any given point, and it's so much easier to add flexibility to your lifestyle, as well as just making sure you're doing it properly, and just so you know and you're aware of what you're on. If you would have asked me 3 years ago, what are your calories at? I'd be like, what are calories? I don't even know. So if you ask me now, I can tell you, and then that means that I can control what it's doing to my body. I can control whether I'm cutting, bulking, maintaining, just because I have that awareness. So from the start, educate yourself about tracking calories, if using Fit macros if you want, using MyFitnessPal more importantly, and just knowing about food. Just go to the shops, scan a bunch of foods in MyFitnessPal, see where they're at, look them up, and track your diet and keep practicing. And after a while, you'll be really good at it and you'll surprise yourself. Just even knowing what's in foods will shock you. Number three is thinking clean food is the answer. So I did this a lot. So my first 3 years of training, my diet was all clean foods. Okay, good. I mean, when I say clean, I mean unprocessed foods, but it'd be the bro foods like brown rice, tuna, chicken breast grilled with nothing on it, stuff like that, because you think, and egg whites, you think that you see these big guys doing it, so it must be good. Really, if you look at egg whites or chicken breast that's grilled and you just look at it as a lean source of protein instead of the holy grail, it's a much better outlook. So instead of having egg whites all the time, which I hated, I could have had any other lean source of protein, but I relied on those bro foods because I thought that if I didn't eat brown rice and tuna, I wasn't gonna get lean, So if you're uneducated about the content of food, you'll find yourself just eating chicken, broccoli, tuna, all these random foods that people have deemed to be clean and good. Clean foods, really, the only benefit is that they might be lower in fat, which means they're lower in calories, and they might be high in micronutrients, like vitamins and minerals. That is the only benefit of eating clean foods. What you should do is eat a variety of foods, eat a lot of nutritious foods, and then eat what you enjoy. Like, white rice is actually better than brown rice, in my opinion. But I was told by these random meatheads that brown rice is better, so I ended up having brown rice. Stupid. Okay, so if you learn about it from the start, you can actually not overemphasize clean foods, and you'll be much more sustainable in a diet, and you'll enjoy the diet so much more too. So don't think clean foods is the holy grail. It comes down to calories in and calories out. Doesn't really matter where you get them from, essentially. Okay, this issue I had a lot. Number 4 is getting too fat in the off season or when you're bulking. You just don't. I've done this before many times, and it's just hard, because what I used to do is I used to think, okay, it's off season, it's time to bulk, let's eat everything in sight and eat till you feel sick every single meal. But here's a few downsides. If you get too fat, your testosterone's gonna decrease and you'll have a hard time putting on muscle. If you get too fat, you're gonna have high insulin resistance, which means your body can't actually utilize the carbs very well. So you'll find if you're bulking for ages, right, and you're getting way too fat, after a while, you're not getting those crazy pumps anymore. You're like, what's going on? You feel fluffy, you're not getting pumps. It's because you literally, your body's flooded with insulin all the time that it doesn't do its job properly. So you don't get the best pumps, it's not as anabolic. So what you wanna do is stay under 15% body fat, essentially. So I used to get way too fat in my off season. Like now, I'm a lean 69, 70 kilos. I used to be 82 in my off season. Like, it was just bad. And at the start, I thought it was all muscle, and then I'd cut down to like 70 again. I'm like, what the hell? What is going on? So don't get too fat in your off season, guys. Don't get too fat. And don't be this guy. Hey, what are you doing eating all that cereal?
Nah, that's cool, I'm bulking.
You didn't even train today.
This is not your concern!
This brings me to my next point, is don't cut too hard. So a lot of the time, you'll bulk too hard, get way too fat, and then think, all right, operation, get absolutely diced. And you'll shred like crazy, do stupid amounts of cardio, and really not know what you're doing. So I did this before. I would just think, all right, we're cutting now. So what does that mean? That means we cut out carbs. That means we're doing 2 hours of cardio a day, and we're training with all these reps. And that's what I did. I had no stage of, increasing difficulty or anything. It was just all out for as long as possible. And then I hit a point where my calories probably would have been at 1300 or something like that. I didn't even count. They would have been about 1200. And I was eating nothing. I was training stupid amounts, and I was doing crazy amounts of cardio, and it sucked. And I was hating life, and I wasn't even getting that lean. I just looked stringy. I was thinking, what is going on? So if you cut too hard, you're just gonna eat into more muscle mass, which is basically what I did, right? So I'd bulk to 82, and then I'd cut down to 70, and I'd probably cut away the muscle that I had have gained by bulking so hard. So this brings me to my next point of not bulking for long enough, but you wanna do it right. So by cyclical bulking is when you either have a couple of weeks of bulking, followed by like a week of cutting, or maybe 8 weeks of bulking, followed by a couple of weeks of cutting. Whichever way you wanna do it, you can even do it throughout the week, like 4 days bulking, a few days cutting, or 2 days cutting. What it's gonna do is it's gonna get rid of a bit of that unwanted body fat that you'll carry around from the bulk. It's also gonna make you more insulin sensitive, which is what we were saying before about more pumps. Your body's gonna uptake the carbs a lot better. So you wanna be insulin sensitive, and that comes from dieting. So what you're gonna need to do is bulk for as long as you can, all right? But don't just linear bulk, keep increasing calories up to 10,000. You wanna increase calories. As soon as you start to feel a little bit fluffy, take them down a notch for a week or two. Maybe reduce your carbs a little bit, get a bit of that insulin sensitivity back, and then go back again. The longer time you spend in a surplus, the better it is for muscle gain. So you really, really, really want to bulk for as long as possible, because that means you're putting on muscle. And then do little mini cuts just to make sure that your body fat's under control and you're getting too fluffy. That's about it. Next point is neglecting legs. So in my first 2 years of training, I was training for the typical reasons of I want big arms, I want a big chest, for random, just to impress girls, like just to look like, that dude at the beach. But I didn't think I needed big legs. So when it came to leg day, I'd skip it, cliche aside, or I just would half-ass it, and I'd just do, maybe some leg press, didn't like squats, maybe some leg extension, a couple machines, spend about 40 minutes, talking about shit, and they didn't grow. Surprisingly, they didn't grow. So that led to me, after training for 2 or 3 years, thinking, hey, actually I need to have leg muscles. I actually need to have this balance. And then I had to play catch up. Then I had to smash legs as hard as I could in my off seasons, and it was pretty brutal because I was catching up. My upper body had 2 years of training. My lower body hadn't had really any. So you want to start from the beginning. Even if you think you don't need them, just chuck 1 leg day in a week. Make sure you do it right, make sure you smash it. And then your body will grow together. It's gonna boost your overall hormones as well, like testosterone for growth. So trust me, it's a lot better. Start with legs. Another problem is not changing it up. So a lot of you guys will feel like you'll get a routine, it'll work really well, so you think, and then you'll just hit a plateau and you think, what's going on? Done the same thing every day, it used to work, now it doesn't. Your body adapts, it adapts to absolutely everything. So with regards to training, nutrition, everything, you have to change it up. You have to have periods on, have periods off certain things, just change it around. Don't do the same bro split every single day for months on end. Change it up, maybe then go to full body workouts or a push-pull leg split, repeat. Change the order of exercises, the rep schemes, everything, every little variable, just change it. And if you can control those changes, that's called periodizing. So if you want to say, first 3 weeks I'm doing this program, the next 3 weeks I'm doing a different one. That's periodizing. So you can do that with everything. And then that's gonna keep your body guessing, and it'll just change it up and help you break through plateaus. Another mistake I made is thinking that meal frequency is everything. What I mean by this is I thought that you needed to have 6, 7 small meals a day to get lean, otherwise you can't, keeps your metabolism burning, whatever they say. Nah, it's really wrong. Meal frequency is like a tiny bit of the picture. Really, I don't think it matters. So protein timing matters. If you want to get a good source of protein every few hours, ideally, but if you don't, it's not the end of the world, as long as you have a couple. With overall calories, it doesn't really matter too much. So I personally like to have 3 bigger meals now. Because my calories are a bit lower, I'm more comfortable having 3 big meals instead of 6 tiny meals. I'm thinking this is nothing, and you feel like you're dieting. If you want, you can fast for the day and have 1 giant meal, and you're thinking this is heaven. But each to their own. Some people might not like it, some people love it. So meal frequency, really find out what works for you. I used to just force myself to have 6 small meals and eat on the hour, like it was just stupid. I'd advise you to do what's more comfortable. If you're cutting, do what you enjoy more. So if you feel like you want to have bigger meals, then have it like lower meal frequency. If you're bulking, on the other hand, it's hard to get in those calories. So sometimes if you're bulking, you need to have a regimented meal frequency of times that you can eat, because otherwise you forget and you've got to catch up on 2,000 calories. So it depends on your goal, but just do what is comfortable for you. That's the main point, I guess. Last point is buying too many supplements and really relying on supplements too much. When you're starting out, it's hard to get the full picture of what it's really like. Like you get sucked into marketing very easily. All the fads, all these crazy test boosters and growth hormone products that you think are like gear, basically. That's what they're marketed as. They're marketed as like steroids. And then you think, oh, this is gonna do this. And you take it and then it does like nothing. You're thinking, was that a waste? Like it's very hard. Supplements are key. Like I say you do need them. I've taken whey protein, creatine, BCAAs, flat out for years. They were my staples. So I'd suggest you take those staples and pre-workouts, because I'm a pre-workout junkie. But everything else is optional. I'm not saying they do nothing, but they give you that extra %. And if you think it's worth it, go for it. But don't think that if you buy an extra tub of glutamine, you're gonna get absolutely massive, okay? Because most likely, it'll do the tiniest bit, and if you're not expecting it that much, you will be disappointed. So what you want to do is get the staples, okay? And then if you want, then do your research on the other ones. For example, I like a sleep product. I think a sleep product is good for me, and it'd be worth the money. But if I wouldn't go and tell people you need this because I like to use it. You know what I mean? People need to be educated on what it does, what it might do for them, the benefits you might get, and whether it's worth the money or not. But don't think that you go into the sub shop and you need to drop $600 on everything, because the more the better. Really, no. They're just the extra bit. There's your training, there's your diet, and supplements are just that extra bit it's just the cherry on top. It makes that tiny bit extra difference. If you're willing to go all out and you've got all the money in the world, 100%, get it all, because you may as well. But if you're on a budget, which most people are, just get the essentials and weigh up whether you need the other ones. If you struggle with energy, you're probably better buy a pre-workout. If you can't eat enough protein, 100%, get a protein, maybe get one before bed if you feel like you need a whey or something like a casein as well. But really, just stick to the staples. So I'll show you which staples I like. So these are my staples. So basically guys, the essentials that I recommend you start off with is a whey protein. Stick to an isolate, just have it after your workouts and just eat the rest of your protein. BCAAs, have them during your workouts, they're gonna help muscle recovery as well. Very difficult to get from normal foods. Creatine, definitely, that's gonna help with strength and size. So take it either before or after your workout, just 5 grams. And if you struggle with energy, go with pre-workout. But again, a pre-workout's optional. And then the rest are helpful, they'll do their bit, but definitely just start with these. I mean, it's gonna make a difference and then you're not gonna have to go too crazy spending money. All right guys, so I hope I gave you a bit of insight into what to do, what not to do, and basically how to avoid these mistakes that I made. So now it's time to get to this week's giveaway. All right, so it goes to L. Markland, who says, anyone who enjoys cardio is a masochist. Can't trust him. Hashtag massive fan. I tend to agree with you. All right, I tend to agree with you. There's too many people that go, yeah, I just love running. It's like, mate, how? Anyway, thank you guys for commenting. Again, I really appreciate the support. If I don't get back to your comments now, I definitely will soon. But yeah, that's about all I've got to say, guys. So, you know what to do. Stay massive.
Popping like soda, make them turn up and over. I'm the slickest in hair, that's why she kissing the cobra.